You're good.
All right, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It's the meeting of the Personnel Board, Town of Foxborough. I'm going to call it to order. Present will be Nancy Basher by Zoom.
I am here.
Our good friend Jack, Town Council. Tracy Vasili.
Hello, everyone.
Mike
Brown.
Brown, our newest member from AdCom,
Advisory Committee.
and myself, Gary. Good evening, good afternoon. Has anyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes. Yes.
I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Tracy, yes.
Gary, yes. Mike, we have to do a verbal.
Yes. I wasn't here for the
wasn't.
meeting, so
Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
don't know the
okay.
minute.
Nancy?
I had no
Nancy?
comment.
Nancy, yes.
Nancy, yes, okay.
Where is Scott Yankee?
Don't know.
He contacted Katie today and said that he wasn't going to be able to make it.
Okay.
He had a
Is
last-minute conflict. I think it
Katie
was.
on taking notes?
Katie, I believe.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not via video.
No worries. I just want to make sure you were there.
Yeah, of course. Sorry about that. Yeah, Scott, something came up with his children, so I said we had a quorum and don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
And we have someone who may be visiting, Monica Fissler.
Yeah,
if
she
you can
reached
make
out
it.
to me. Yeah, she
Yeah.
reached out to me. Just
Okay.
a couple questions about sitting on the board, so
Okay.
she was either gonna stop in or listen in.
Okay, very good. Should be a nice addition to the board. Okay.
Sorry.
Mike,
Also
Mike,
about Monica, she had something for her daughter, which could be running late, so more than likely she'll just Zoom in when her family commitment is over.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
Sure.
All right, Mike, would you like to take over?
Yes. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate you all joining us this evening. HR Counsel Jack Dolan, thanks for joining us as always. So at your last meeting, you approved some changes to some of our seasonal pay, and those were in the recreation area. And the reason for those changes was to remain competitive with surrounding communities and with the YMCA. And thank you for those changes. Those have been changed, and those will start taking place on July 1st. The reason we have this evening is to look at some additional changes. So now that we're competitive with some of our other municipal counterparts and competitive, somewhat competitive with the YMCA, now we find that we need to compete with McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, and some of the other places that are hiring young people for the summer. And we're not able to do that. So recently we had, in the last couple of months, we had 3 of our library pages leave employment. We for a while, we've had our seasonal DPW laborer position advertised. We usually hire 1 or 2 of these people every summer. We have had 1 applicant. Likewise with interns. So we're just, while we are exempt from meeting state minimum wage, I feel it's necessary so that we can, hire people to run our summer program. So that's why we're here. So if you go to the second page of the handout, that shows the FY21 part-time seasonal pay plan. It was also the same. We did not change those rates at all, so those are the same rates for FY22. So anything in the far left column that you see that's below $14.25, those are the things we're trying to address. So if you go to the,
Can I
yes,
just ask a question, including the recreational, or is this just at the top?
including recreational. So we're trying to address the recreational ones too.
Which we already addressed once.
Yes, some of them we did.
Okay, and so
Correct.
what's the minimum you're trying to take them to again?
We're trying to bring them to $14.25,
Okay,
up
thank
to
you.
state minimum.
Okay, thank you.
So the ones that you see, again, on the second page, specialized instructor down towards the bottom, $25. We're not looking to touch that. Or our program coordinators, they're at $15.75. Electrical inspectors, $30 an hour. We're not trying to touch any of those that are above the state minimum. And then up at the top, COA, van driver, we're not trying to address that either. We're trying to get the ones that we're really having trouble competing with. where we're below state minimum wage. So what I've done, if you go to the top page, which is the FY '22 part-time seasonal pay plan, and then you look at the left-hand column, I've taken all those that are below minimum, moved them up to $14.25, started them at minimum, and then moved them up, in most cases, up by 50 cents an hour for people who return in year 2, year 3, and year 4. So that's, in a nutshell, those are the changes. So we're just trying to remain competitive so that we can attract folks for the summer.
Right. And none of it seems out of line to me,
No.
knowing what the market is out there, so.
Are we also looking at call firefighter, or no, that's a different line?
The one other that's not summer is library page. It's up in the top category.
Yep.
And those are year-round, but those have, we've historically paid, below minimum wage. In fact, in year 4, they can come back at, or step 4 at $14.25. That's where we want to start really the bottom.
And then did we move the counselor to $15.50 last time, and then 16 for the lifeguard?
We did,
Okay, so those are already done. Head counselor went to $17.50.
correct.
The 19, I remember that, and then 25. Instructional assistant, that's one you're looking to move to?
Yes. We want to move that up from starting at 13 to starting at 14.25.
Okay, so the increases are anywhere from $1.25 to $1.50
Right.
in the first year.
Correct. And
Yeah,
that's,
so Mike, I kind of remember from last meeting that there was a head lifeguard that was going to be making more than the regular lifeguard. Is that correct? Or
Talk about
a
the head,
lead
maybe the head counselor and program director?
No,
That
there was
me.
a head lifeguard, I thought we had it, for some reason 19 is sticking in my head, Nancy.
That's what's sticking in my mind, Tracy.
So like lifeguard WSI, I think we discussed paying a lifeguard 16 and a head lifeguard 19, maybe?
I'll go back and see if,
Hold on a second, we should have the minutes, right?
yeah.
I think it might be in our minutes. And then the other question that I remember that we talked about was the program director and the playground supervisor making the same rate. And wondering if they shouldn't somehow be different based on the titles.
Oh, yeah, last time it said Nancy, you brought up a new line should be added for the playground supervisor. And Mike, your answer was, we'll check with Mark and Renee as they did try to consolidate some roles.
Right, there's a good overlap and all that, so.
And I don't recall what the answer on that was. I will check with actually, I'll give them a call after this meeting and find out, was that by intention, or is that something we need to add as far as the difference between director and supervisor?
Yeah, and then just to check on the,
On the head lifeguard?
yeah, because I remember that discussion too. It's not in the minutes though, Nancy, but we both recall
It's
it.
not, I guess I'm just remembering it from memory then, which is amazing.
Well, and maybe it was more that they were paid the same as the head counselor. But a lifeguard and a head lifeguard, I don't know. But I think the increases you're proposing, I mean, are incredibly fair.
Conservative,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing's
So,
crazy.
Mike, how does it work, like, with the steps for seasonal people? Is it like each year they get the next step?
That's correct. If they come back recommended and rehired for a second year, then they would go up to step 2. If they're not recommended, then we don't rehire them.
And they cap out at the step 4.
Exactly. So if they return years 5, 6, 7, they're at step 4.
Okay.
Mike, what do the Duncans and the Mickey D's pay right nowadays? Those kind of places that, do you know?
I don't know offhand, but they're generally well above minimum.
And 1425 just takes us to minimum, Mike?
That's correct. Yeah, state minimum is 14.25.
I'm not questioning the amounts. I think they sound reasonable. I'm just wondering if they're enough, quite honestly. If you're trying to keep staff or get staff.
Right,
Right.
right. You know,
Yeah.
in general, people that come to these jobs, they come there because they really like doing this work, whether it's in the recreation programs. We tend to keep our library pages for a long time. They love doing that work. But I think when they see, you know, a couple dollars more doing something else, it might be less interesting, but they still got to put away money for college or
Yeah, a car.
or whatever it is.
Gasoline, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think we have to be excessive, but we at least want to, you know, not give them incentive to go somewhere for a less interesting job because it was $1 more. That's really what we're trying to do.
Are any of
Have we
the
been-
pages that
have
have
we
left,
been
do you think will come back? If we do this?
I don't know that. I honestly don't know, but I think at
Have
least
we been successful hiring lifeguards and?
we have been. So we've been actually very successful hiring lifeguards and the other positions that that this board raised before. That's actually been very successful. We've been, and we,
Good.
you know, last time, if you remember, I brought you comparison charts showing what the other communities were doing. And I didn't think that was necessary this time because this was really about coming up to minimum to be competitive, really with the,
Right.
with.
No, I've heard of a lot of places can't hire, they can't find people for that stuff, so I'm glad we were able to.
Yeah, actually, this week, we're opening the pool, and we do have staff to do that.
Awesome.
Great.
So, yeah, that was been, and I think we really would have struggled, because you're right, and I'm still seeing advertisements out there with places trying to get lifeguards and camp counselors too, and they're struggling. There are not enough of them. So we had to come up to something competitive to at least open our pool, and that was a big, it was a big priority for us, open that pool this year.
It was a big priority for the community.
We
Absolutely,
had to go for this year, yes.
absolutely.
Yep.
I find this all very reasonable and fair. I have no concerns.
You want to vote on this, Mike?
Yes, please. The one other, I will note here, change on your plan is in the, for reserve officer. It's not a change that you're voting. It's something that happened, by contract, and that's the detail pay. So it went up to $66, and that's when the police contract was reviewed. That was one of the areas where, the users of those details, it was decided that that's where that cost should go. So, folks who are holding events, that's where that went. But so that's not a change that you're voting. That was voted by the union contract.
Okay.
I just wanted to point that out to you.
It was part of the negotiations.
Exactly. Yep.
I make a motion that we approve the recommended increases to the various positions as presented by Mike Johns.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sure.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Tracy, I.
Gary, aye.
Aye.
Nancy, I.
It's unanimous, passes. Is there anything else you'd like to address, Mike?
No, but I will come back with answers on those two questions about the, should we have separate rates for the director and supervisor, as well as the head lifeguard question.
Yeah, because I think it'd be funny if both of us remembered it and it really didn't happen.
Right,
Yeah, right.
right.
Or we're in each other's dreams.
And I remember 19 being talked about.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to address today?
That's it for today.
Motion to adjourn.
No, I'd like
Oh.
to, I'd like to make a statement if I may, prior to.
Oh,
Nancy has informed me that she's moving out of town, unfortunately, and she will be leaving our committee.
very sad.
It's very sad.
Not right away. I'm not moving till next spring.
Oh, next spring. I thought you were leaving this spring.
We're already past the spring.
No, next spring. We're building a house. But I told you that, if you have somebody on deck that you'd like to bring in, I will step down.
I misunderstood. What's our maximum membership?
It is, I think we're at 5, so we are at maximum right now. So with one opening coming up, I think it's 5 though.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have somebody, Gary, go
We have
with it.
somebody that's considering it, but we haven't gotten a definite yet. My mistake
Okay.
on that, Nancy. I thought you were moving in a couple months.
No, that would not be spring.
She's getting
I
feisty.
love you anyways, Nancy.
I love your feistiness.
Take a while to build a place.
Yeah, the
All right,
stage.
now you may make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Oh, so, yeah, second.
Tracy, aye.
Gary, aye. Mike?
Aye.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Nancy? Aye.
aye.
Thank you, everyone.